Hi guys, it's Debbie. I have been absent from the channel for a couple of weeks because my family came over from Europe to visit me to spend some time with me. At the moment I am on an exchange program in the United States. I'm just outside New York City, but for the time that my family came, we decided to stay in Brooklyn, so inside the city. During the time they were here, we did so many amazing things. We went all the way up to Niagara Falls, we climbed up inside the Statue of Liberty, but today I would like to speak about one special lucky encounter which happened one of the days while we were out and about. On the first night that my parents arrived, after picking them up at the airport, we were all walking back together from the subway to our home, and I was pointing out various things about New York and so on. One of the things I pointed out was one of the hundreds of signs that are put up in different locations in New York and that are warning that at a certain date and a certain time a film crew will be present in that location. This was right behind our house, but we didn't pay too much attention to it because there are literally hundreds and hundreds of these signs all around New York, because a film crew could be filming anything, even just a 5-second advertisement. So although it was a curious thing I'd pointed out, we completely forgot about it and went on to enjoy, our normal holiday. Fast forward a couple of days later, we were walking again in the same area because it was literally behind the house to get to the subway, and we noticed that there were many people bustling around in that area. It looked like they were renovating one of the shops. Now this is around Myrtle Avenue, and it is quite a run-down neighborhood of Brooklyn. Most of the shops in a bad condition or they're closed, so it was odd suddenly seeing all these business-like people bustling around in an exaggerately neat manner around one shop. We had completely forgotten about the filming notice, and we were quite in a hurry for the underground, so we didn't stop to realize that they were not renovating a shop or opening a new one. A film crew was actually creating the background for the scenes that would have been filmed in those days. Fast forward to the next day, we come out again out of the house, turn around the corner, and it is absolute chaos. So the whole street is blocked off from the traffic. A side street is completely packed with trailers, food carts. There are actors and technicians everywhere, prop cars, these vintage cars from the 50s lining up the street. We realized we were on the film set. Nobody was actually filming at the time. They were just setting everything up. So whoever was passing by at that moment could just stop and take a look at everything, ask questions. So I stopped to ask one of the people who was working on the set what they were actually filming, and the woman told me it was Motherless Brooklyn, a film set in the 50s. I had never heard of it, so I just thanked her and moved on. But then we decided, just out of curiosity, to Google what the film was all about. And we actually discovered it was a film directed by Edward Norton and starring Willem Dafoe, Alec Baldwin, Bruce Willis, Gugu Mbatha-Raw. Now everybody that knows me knows how much I love all of Edward Norton's work. He has been one of my favourite actors since my real passion for cinema developed in my early teens. Fight Club, American History X, The Illusionist, then more recently with the Wes Anderson films, Grand Budapest Hotel, Moonrise Kingdom. But there is one film I was particularly crazy about, Red Dragon. In this film, Edward Norton portrayed an FBI agent during the Hannibal the Cannibal case. And oh my goodness, what a great film this was. This was a stunning horror. It had Anthony Hopkins, Ralph Fiennes, Philip Seymour Hoffman, and Edward Norton was amazing in his role. I still remember him frantically looking through the crime scene photos, or when Anthony Hopkins tells him that's the same atrocious aftershave you wore in court. So all of this to say that I was absolutely thrilled to be on an Edward Norton set. So my family and I Googled everything, but we weren't expecting to actually meet anybody. We turn around to go to the subway, and there is Edward Norton. I didn't even stop to think, and I just walked up to him. But one of the women of the security stopped me and said I wasn't allowed to take a photo because he was working. And I was like, okay, fine, that's correct. I'm not going to rudely disturb him, especially if it's on set. That's just like busting into somebody's office and demanding a photo. So we walked towards the subway, and I tried to take a photo from a long way, But the security woman literally threw herself in front of the camera to not let me get a photo. Now I understand if I had barged up to the front trying to take a photo of him, a sneaky hidden photo. I was basically taking a photo from the subway entrance. Half of the neighborhood was just hanging around on the street chatting. There was no, stopping people who were going by. And in all that time that we were there, speaking with people from the filming crew, Googling, talking, looking around, if we had really wanted to do this, we could have, been sneakily filming everything, but we didn't. It was just a grainy, generic photo from the distance without revealing anything. But anyway, I understand he was working. So in the end, we just walked away. I managed to take 1 or 2 photos from the distance. As we were going on with all our daily activities, I didn't give much importance to this, this event here. And then in the evening, when we got back to the subway to go back home, my dad from the front turns around and shouts, "Stanno ancora filmando," which means they're still filming. So we walk up to the front, and they weren't actually filming in that moment. It was more of a pause, and everybody was just mingling, chatting. There were just extras chatting with the locals. Edward Norton was there, and he was, just greeting people, shaking hands, speaking to them. The security guards were just, allowing people to move around on the set. So I actually walked up to the director and I asked for a photo. He kindly listened to me, but he refused the photo because he was in his costume. And when he said that, silly me actually looked down to check if he was actually wearing his costume. He obviously was. But I was just getting nervous at that moment. So I asked if we could take a photo of just showing our heads, but he kindly again refused. So I just, started rambling. I thanked him for everything he'd done for the world of cinema. I told him of how I loved all of his films. We shook hands, and that was it. Now, my dad was right behind me, and he did take one very blurry photo, followed by a "sir" by the security guards, which shows like me coming away from him, but that was about it. I should have asked him for an autograph. I know, I thought about that later. I actually had a pen and everything behind in my backpack, but it doesn't matter. It was still an awesome experience, and he was so kind. Even when he refused the photo, he listened to me. He listened to what I had to say. I've met other actors in New York. For example, we met Maggie Gyllenhaal, famous, for example, for portraying Rachel in The Dark Knight, or Donnie's sister in Donnie Darko, and we kindly asked her for a photo, but she said something, she refused. But then, for example, we met other actors. Kyle Allen stopped. You might know him from The XX, The Path, One Night. And he stopped to take a photo, he stopped to chat. So it just depends really on the circumstances. You can't expect to bump into Leonardo DiCaprio on the street and expect him, to remove his sunglasses and his hat and his 10 coats and take a photo with you. It's just not, it won't happen. So all in all, it was an awesome experience. Edward Norton is now starring in Isle of Dogs, directed by Wes Anderson, and I'm really excited to see it. I hope you enjoyed this video. As you can see, I'm back in my usual set, so I'll be getting back into the usual filming schedule. So if you want to see more movie related content, feel free to subscribe, and I'll see you soon. Bye.